Right, it's 5:30. I call the Select Board meeting to order. This meeting is being videotaped. And do we have any minutes, Ray?
Minutes from August 5th.
I'll make a motion to accept.
Second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any project updates?
Just one. One of the two new water coolers for the elementary school has been delivered. The other one I think is on back order. But it's a start.
Yep, it's a start. Fire department used tanker truck.
So lots of emails back and forth with Missouri Fire Apparatus. The purchase order has been sent to them. The purchase contract has been sent. They clarified on the 1-year warranty that comes with it. Very consistent with all the dealings with them right along, that they're not just selling a truck, they're selling a reputation. There isn't some long, tiny print warranty form. It's a statement that any warranty repairs need to be pre-approved by them. Otherwise it's complete bumper-to-bumper 1-year warranty.
That sounds good.
Mm-hmm.
So the 10% down payment check is in the warrant for tonight, and we'll get that shipped out tomorrow.
What do you know about delivery of the truck at this point?
I think they've got a vendor that might have better rates than who we've used. As we get closer to having a delivery date, I'll check into that again. I haven't asked the seller if they've been working on sort of the finish up work since we sent the purchase order, or if they're holding off and not doing anything until they get the
deposit check.
deposit.
Either way, the deposit check won't be far behind.
Right.
Good. Right, anything else on that one?
Nope.
Highway superintendent search.
The application deadline was Friday. We received 6 applications. I'm coordinating with Randy and Tom to set up a date to meet and review. I'd say I'm pleased with the caliber of the applicants that we got.
Good.
Stay tuned.
We will. First Light and FERC.
So Carl Meyer, who I think might have been the only individual that FERC named as an intervener during the split the license process or application by First Light, did file a request for a rehearing on FERC's decision to approve the transfer of the license. The basis for his request seems to lie in that there was a period in May when he feels First Light was not in compliance with their operating license. And he explains some reports and personal observations regarding water levels during a time, I think, when the short-nosed sturgeon would be either spawning or if there'd be the fry in pools near the shore. I'm not, you can tell I don't know much about spawning habits of sturgeon or any other fish for that matter.
So you're going to read up on it and let us know next week what they are?
If it doesn't say have 4 legs and say move.
It's probably on YouTube or Facebook.
I think Carl's got a good point in if they're not in compliance with their existing license, that intervention should be made on the process of their new license. What about any of the issues that the Stream Bank Erosion Committee has had, or Gill Conservation Commission? Is there any kind of letter we should be writing? I know that I haven't wanted to drag the town into intervenor status, with any financial obligations.
So I guess within the stream bank erosion in Gill, it would, I guess, really a question that we would need to ask the Conservation Commission as far as where do they feel First Light is at in respects to the different stream bank erosion or erosion mitigation projects that have been undertaken.
Mm-hmm.
Are they complete, partially complete, successful, partially successful, not at all successful? And then try and decide, is there a course of action based on where that is?
Yeah.
So is Carl Meyer, is he hired a lawyer for this?
I
Do we know?
haven't heard that he has.
I haven't heard, and just the fact that he's got a letter doesn't mean that he's hired a lawyer. It's just
No,
that he's submitting a letter.
I'm
So,
just merely asking because with the editorial, it's sort of advocating for 3 towns to
hire a lawyer.
hire
and
a
jump in
lawyer,
there.
and I just didn't know if work had already been done through a lawyer, through Carl Meyer or not, but I don't necessarily see it as dragging the town into something. If there's something there that it would be in the town's interest to pay a little bit of money to find out what I think we're all kind of wandering in the dark right now in terms of what this means. And if it means spending a little bit of money to find out, I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing for the town. I know you didn't mean it that way, as far as
Right.
but yeah. But is that something we can we reach out to Montague and Miss Northfield on that list, I believe?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And see if there's any, I don't know if they
I
have any
wonder if
interest or not.
The first place that I should reach out to is FERC. That it likely is just given the date of when they issued their decision, that maybe there's a way the towns could sign on in support of Carl's
Well, that's what I was thinking.
request.
Yeah.
I don't think, I think the deadline to file ones on our own related to the license split decision. I think that deadline is come and gone.
Mhm.
And then with respect to any questions about stream bank erosion and that process and potential compliance. If there is a compliance issue, that could have been another thing raised within Carl's, saying, here's another example.
Mm-hmm.
But if there is a compliance issue, then I'm not sure that needs to be married to the license split issue. The license is the license,
Right.
no matter which or how many companies, LLCs, are operating it. And if there is a compliance issue, then I would expect there are other avenues, not just this one recent
The
decision.
one concerning part about the license split and any kind of question about the operation of the license moving forward or the operation of the license in the past is there going to be a disconnect between the entity that has the obligation and the entity that has the funds available to do remediation? And probably with our stream bank erosion issue, which is north, that issue may be continued with Northfield Mountain Pump Storage LLC as opposed to Cabot Station LLC. So we may be okay there. The issue about dewatering the canal and not having funds for a proper fish lift at Cabot Station could be jeopardized by the license split because Cabot may not have the cash flow that FERC would then say, these guys can't afford it. And if we make them do it, it will put them out of business. And we can't put them out of business. That wouldn't be in the public good. That's my concern about the license split. But like I said a minute ago, that may not affect what's going on as far as stream bank erosion and the pond itself. But we need to know where those things lie. Who gets what liability and who gets what ability to fund remediation.
And that's what's in the editorial. Same concern. The federal regulators recognize the two locations as two separate small businesses. Would each one be liable for its own portion of the river? If so, and if one location were more profitable than the other, would the less profitable be less liable for river health? I think the editorial has a good point too in terms of just, I'm not sure what the timeline is at this point in terms of our ability to seek any kind of intervener status, but again, to me, it just gets back to, what we just have a lot of questions that aren't being answered, and if three towns want to go in on a lawyer and request documents, and that may be the way to do it. I don't know.
Well, we have questions that aren't being answered, but have they been asked directly? We can sit here rhetorically ask them, but have they been asked?
Right.
It may be too late for us to file something like what Meyer filed, but doesn't mean it's not too late to ask questions.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe whether we come up with a list of them or we engage a lawyer to help us come up with the list.
That would be a good way to.
Well, yeah, even if it were just for that,
Yeah.
I do think time is not on our side,
Nope.
and I'm not making judgments of anything. John's obviously a lot more knowledgeable about this as you are than I am, but the way the editorial reads, Northfield's waiting. Montague more or less said, they don't think it's worth the cost of a lawyer.
Right.
I don't know if trying to get those guys on board with us, that just extends the time.
Right.
Or we just bite it and bite the bullet and do it.
We are 8 years into a 5-year relicensing
Well, that's
procedure,
kinda-
so.
But their timelines still have
Well,
dates. They don't care about
not
ours.
quite. We're
so-
6.
6. So.
Six.
Okay.
It only feels like 8.
It does.
Feels like
So-
8, but it's 6.
If we have questions, I think that might be our best way to do it, is to go ahead and hire a lawyer and get our questions out there, and maybe we can have a joint meeting with Concom in the next week or two, and if we can do that, and come up with.
Well, that's why, yeah, I mean, I don't think, I'm not sure Donna, our town lawyer,
Right.
would have the expertise in this area, but maybe, I don't know. Can't hurt to look into it, I guess.
Doesn't hurt to ask questions. What's the worst you're going to get told? Nothing.
Right.
We already have that. It's not. It's not like we're going to tie up on a large amount of funds,
Right.
but not spending any could cost us a lot later.
Yes.
Right.
That,
So-
that's exactly what I'm thinking.
Yeah, I can reach out to Don or reach out to the Concom. And I think the question of just who would get liability or responsibility with a split license, that might even be something that the answer comes for free from FERC
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
if we find the right person.
We'll find a person.
And I might suggest that we keep Carl Meyer abreast of what we're doing.
What's
He
that?
might be- I might suggest that we keep Carl Meyer abreast of what we're doing. He
Yeah.
might help us formulate some other
Yep.
questions that.
I agree.
Would the best way to do it have Ray reach out to him?
Or it could be one of us.
Probably won't be me.
It could be me. I mean, I can reach out to him.
I'm comfortable with anybody, personally, but
I think you're probably a little more knowledgeable than I am if you want to do that. But I'm happy to do it too. You probably just you've been in the discussions with him too, so that helps.
He was not allowed into the discussions pretty early on in the process.
But you were.
I had a good reason for not signing the non-disclosure statement. I was able to go in there and say, look, I'm a municipal official. I need to answer to my constituents. If somebody comes and asks me a direct question, I need to be able to give them the answer. I'm not signing a non-disclosure statement. And they said, well, I guess we can't kick you out of the negotiations then. All right, on to new business. If we don't have any more questions for today on, and you're certainly, I know you're here for this. If you feel like you want to ask the board any questions, feel free to.
I missed the first part. Carl Meyer is considering appealing FERC's decision.
Carl Meyer has written a letter.
He wrote a request to FERC for a rehearing of the license transfer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
And you're considering maybe the town should hire a lawyer and get involved.
There was a very good editorial in the Greenfield Recorder that said that the towns, Montague,
Yeah.
Irving, Northfield, Gill,
it never mentions Irving.
never mentions Irving,
Nope.
should consider hiring a lawyer and getting involved. And Ray sent that editorial and Carl Meyer's letter as an FYI to the three of us on the select board. Now, of course, we couldn't deliberate on it or talk about it until tonight, but that's basically what started our conversation tonight. And you walked in maybe 30 seconds after it started.
Oh, okay.
So there wasn't anything substantive that you've missed.
Okay.
But you've got a copy of his letter now, and I know you've got access to the editorial.
Okay, good, thank you.
Or I can give you this one so you don't even have to research it.
Oh, yeah.
The last paragraph on the front side, I think, is the one that talks about where the towns are at,
Right.
more than anything. Starts on the front, flips over.
Okay.
So we're wondering what we should do to keep ourselves protected in this process. You know, to Randy's point of spending a little bit of money now may save us a lot later.
I guess, is Gill considered more like in the sphere of the Northfield plant than the ones in Montague?
That's interesting because the lower reservoir, the impoundment, which I'll just call the river,
The part
Um,
below that runs through Turner's Falls.
Yeah.
but from the Northfield Mountain Pump Storage Facility to the dam
It's all Gill.
is all Gill.
Yeah.
So Gill is very affected by what happens with the water levels,
Okay.
both because of the Northfield Mountain Pump Storage Project and because of what they do with the canal and Cabot Station and the dam.
Yeah.
Probably less so those than the, changing the river level by the. But we are the land where this facility north of us affects, but we also own 1/3 of.
Depends on who you talk to. I was
Yeah.
going to bring it up tonight.
Right.
Gary Stevens, I ran into him last week, and he's offered to come talk with us, meet with us, bring us for a walk on the bridge. He has deeds and says that we own roughly 2/3 of that bridge is in Gill.
Of the
that,
bridge,
uh,
or of the
that
dam. That roughly 2/3
So
of the
the
dam
dam
is in Gill.
So it was an interesting conversation. I was going to bring it up tonight and ask Ray to reach out to him about either meeting with us here first and then setting up a time to go for a walk. And he's offered to take us a walk across
That's where the property
bridge,
line is underneath the river.
basically. So I mean, if that's the case,
Boy,
then
I
there's
wonder
a
how
lot more
that fits into assessments and everything.
Well, and I think that's where it came from, was working with that a little bit, but so.
Is the erosion the most direct problem that you think could come out of how the power company deals with their the two facilities?
Some people will say yes, and I will say no. I would say the loss of habitat for species is a very big one on my list. And the fact that Gill has been denied fish for decades. I brought up once at one of the meetings, and I think I mentioned it here, Gill pork. They called shad Gill pork because those Gill residents that didn't have enough money for pigs could always get shad.
I think, in my opinion, short-term visible is erosion. I agree with him on habitat. There's just a lot of the change of the river, just where the silt changes are. All of that may be happening underneath. You don't see it, but it's all having effects. The erosion's just the most visible, the easiest part to.
Point your
Oh yeah,
finger
right
at.
there.
Yeah.
And there's it's so much more than that. I mean, those are the compelling reasons for getting involved on the environmental side. But then there's recreation, there's business that's brought into the town due to the river. We get a lot of activity, especially in the summer, that brings in activity and commerce and business. And that's not to say that's as important as the environment. I don't think it is, but it's just another thing that is within the mix of things that go on around the river. We have there's the campsite, there's people that recreate on the river, and in addition there's the question of when they split this up, if you do have one company that is, as you point out, doesn't have the kind of revenue to be able to mitigate a potential problem that's really under their responsibility, then that is going to be a big issue for the town for all those reasons, for the environment, for loss of habitat, for erosion, for people being able to use the river. There's, it's all connected. So.
Yeah. Okay.
And there is no answer to that question, or it's not being addressed?
Well, this all came up suddenly. I mean, this really was something that there's a lot of question marks for us as someone looking at the process of a 5-year relicensing that they've been under, that they started back in 2013, going through all sorts of public discourse with this, and then we get toward the very end, and they file to split these two into two different entities right at the end of their relicensing. I mean, that right before a government shutdown, right at a time where it was going to make it difficult for public discourse. It doesn't matter at this point what they say, it does look suspicious. And we're rightfully, in those set of circumstances, want to ask questions as to why. And we feel like some of the answers we've gotten, maybe they are legitimate, but we don't really know exactly how to evaluate it yet because we haven't gotten the answers from FERC or from First Light. I'm not saying that there's a ton to worry about, but we don't know, at least in my mind. I don't know.
And I'm worried.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things that there's a
Well,
question mark.
John kind of hit on it for me when he referred to it as the lower reservoir or the holding or whatever. I think it's important that we hold FERC, First Light, all of them accountable to the fact that it is not a lower reservoir. It is not their lower reservoir.
Right.
It is a river.
It's a
for
river.
us.
It
That's
is
right.
our
Not
river.
ours, not
Right.
for future generations, for other,
Yeah.
Right.
It's not for here and now. And we're trying to keep it as healthy as we can for as long as we can.
Well, yeah, we live
I mean,
here.
if you go back to the 70s when you couldn't go near that water, a lot of time and a lot of money and a lot of effort was spent to clean that water up to what it is. Let's keep the river healthy and safe.
Yep.
Okay.
Ray, do we have timing on our executive session? I don't
No.
see any time listed here.
No, I figured we'd get to the end of
The first.
the
Light.
all of the business stuff, and then do the warrants after the executive session.
Okay.
Okay.
And I think we're pretty close.
I was gonna say,
What's
the rest
left
of it
is
doesn't look too bad.
Yeah, okay. The rest should move fast.
Should, but you never know with us.
From the troublemaker of the bunch.
I'm just saying, sometimes we get off on. But I think it's important that we do. Our
Yeah.
discussion, quote, ended a while ago.
Right.
But it was
and-
important to bring him in, bring
Yes,
more. And
absolutely.
it brought more about ours, so.
Yep.
It's not a bad thing that we don't always stay
That's right.
tight. So.
That's right. No, I want to thank him for his input,
Yep.
and George too.
Yep.
You guys do a good job out there getting people to know about this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Are you good on this one? Should we
Yeah.
move on?
Yeah, thank you.
Yep. Okay. So, when you're done writing notes, Ray, Regional Dog Control Services.
all set. So, it's the time of the year for our annual renewal of the agreement between the sheriff's office and the town for. They call it Regional Dog Control Services, but in reality, it's access and use of the dog shelter, the dog kennel.
Mhm.
So either motion to have John sign or motion to authorize me to sign, whichever.
I'm gonna do my normal, I have to recuse as a employee of the sheriff's
Well, then
office.
So you have to make,
I'll make a motion for, probably easier just to have Ray sign.
I'll second that. Any further discussion?
Aye.
Aye. Sewer abatement. I saw the email, but I didn't look through that page to make sure everything's in order.
So that's for Kurt and Doreen Quater, 61 Riverview Drive, an abatement request for $198.51. Water used to fill a swimming pool. And the bill's been paid, everything's in order.
So moved.
Second.
Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Police Department, appoint Sergeant Jason Bassett as officer in charge, retroactive to August 17th.
So moved.
Second.
Further discussion?
Just, I guess I'll go along with what Ray said. Let's hope the next period of time is the quietest it can be.
Well, I know that we've got
You know we'll be in good hands.
somebody good in charge,
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
and we've had a lot of people step up and say if Gill needs any help.
Yep.
Which has been great, and I lay a lot of that on, I wanted to call him Sergeant Redmond.
Chief Redmond.
Well, but I
Chief
think
Redmond attracting good people around him.
Sergeant Bassett also brings in those same good people, and I think
Yep.
the two of them, they're a great pair.
They are.
And there's a lot of folks in the county that are willing to help us because they'd do anything for either of the gentlemen.
Yeah, that's right.
So
That's right.
we're fortunate to have either one of them, but to have them both is
But enough of this love fest.
Yep.
Let's get it done and move on to the next one.
You notice I kept my mouth shut. You guys were just, saying everything. So.
Yep.
Did you vote on that, or did I just already
Aye.
write down?
Aye.
oops.
Yeah.
I already knew the answer, but
So, Gill Elementary School, what is the update on the second set of front entry doors?
let's see. So apparently, part of putting in the second set of doors is going to require some asbestos, I think asbestos abatement, so I'm presuming it's the flooring in that area.
Probably cutting the tile to put the...
So the district has received an updated quote on construction of the doors, which the dollar amount there was over 10,000, so it needs to go out to bid. So project has to go out to bid. It will take some more time to make some progress there. Once the bid is awarded, then they'll order the material and work on an installation time frame from them. So it won't be done before school opens this fall.
The installer will be whoever bids on it? So are they bidding the material or are they bidding the entire thing?
I'm not clear on that.
The reason I'm at, we've allocated 20,000 for this.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just wondering.
But it's a lot more than a set of doors. That 20,000 was supposed to take care of the electronics and the camera and I'm going to stay quiet for now because I'm frustrated with this.
Well, I am too. We're
Point blank, we asked the district multiple times, how's this number? Reassured it was good, it's good. I'm not going to be real excited to see this one go above what we allocated.
Right.
Especially 2 years later.
Well, I think we allocated the money last year, I
Yeah.
think.
But if it's not gonna be done before
But
school
it was-
year, it's gonna be,
Right. Okay.
similar to what happened with the kitchen floor.
Public service announcements.
One somewhat related bit of good news just from district and procurement. The new truck that money was approved for, that has come in under budget. Our share will work out to be right around 4,400, and it was supposed to be around 4,650.
We can afford $250 more for the doors.
Troublemaker.
$20,249.
See, this is what everybody talks about.
Keep it up. I like it.
A couple of public service announcements. One, Gill resident George Holmes, Manny Holmes, has arranged a program to be held Tuesday, August 27th, 6 o'clock at the Gill Church, geared toward making people aware of fraud and scams going on in the area, and to provide ways to prevent identity theft and protect personal data. And open to the public, it's free. Sergeant Bassett is going to be there, certainly to answer questions and then also share some of the local horror stories, Gill and the county, of very real examples of significant dollar amounts that residents have been conned out of, defrauded. It's scary stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And secondly, first announcement for Hazardous Waste Collection Day, Saturday, September 21st, at the GCC main campus and the Orange Transfer Station. You'll start to see ads and information about that in the newspapers in the coming weeks. Pre-registration is required by September 16th, and the link for that is on the website now. And that's what I got.
So if that's what you've got, then I would entertain a motion to go into executive session. The purpose of the executive session is to comply with or act under the authority of any general law, i.e. Mass General Law, Chapter 59, Section 60, requiring confidentiality of abatement applications, and we'll meet with Bill Tome, Chair of the Board of Assessors.
So moved.
Second,
And we need a roll call vote.
Randy, aye.
Greg, aye.
John, aye. The
We will-
meeting will not reconvene.
It will reconvene.
Well, it will reconvene in open session to sign the warrants. That is
There you
still open at
Yes.
that point.
Yep.
Yeah.
Thank you.